Right, Lewis. Okay, can you tell us which boxer you've chosen for your technical presentation?
I've chosen Sugar Ray Robinson.
Okay, and why have you chosen him?
Well, I wasn't going to choose Muhammad Ali, but I thought that a few other people might be doing that, so I read about him, and one of his idols was Sugar Ray Robinson, and a lot of people believe him to be the best pound-for-pound boxer ever. And I watched a few of his fights, and I think some of the fights back in the day were a lot more brutal, and obviously a lot harder than they are these days. 15 rounds, and I watched some of his fights, and I thought, blimey, a lot of respect for him, because he's quite a hard hitter and that, and he done really well, so I chose him.
Right, so you've gone away, you've chosen Sugar Ray Robinson, you've had a look at him. Can you tell me a few areas of strengths that you think he has?
Well, he's quite a good all-round boxer. I mean, he's got a really good right-hand shot. I mean, he knocks quite a lot of people out. He's good at standing toe-to-toe with them, so he's pretty powerful.
Okay, and anything from your research or from your opinion where you think that he could do with developing?
Wow. No, not really. I didn't really think about that too much. I mean, I was more looking at his positives rather than his negatives, which I couldn't really see too many.
Okay.
Because he was winning all his fights. So.
Well, a lot of people would probably agree with you on that fact. Guys, has anybody here got an opinion on Sugar Ray Robinson? Something you feel from any footage that you've seen of him that he could improve upon?
I mean, fitness, strength. I mean, you can always improve on them, I suppose. So, I mean, he's obviously very fit to be able to go 15 rounds, but I mean, you can always be fitter. So.
Okay. So there's always some sort of controllable where you could always be better, isn't it? Okay. You can always be more skillful. You can always be fitter. You can always be faster. Whether he was at those top extremes, a lot of people would probably argue that he was. But yeah, I'd agree that someone can always be fitter, always be faster, always be stronger, always be more powerful. Okay, right, so the match has been made. So tonight it's Lewis Templeton versus Sugar Ray Robinson. What tactics would you employ to box against him?
Right, well, I wouldn't want to go toe-to-toe with him because he's very powerful. I'll probably try and just keep away from him as much as possible. I watched the Marvin Hagler and Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard just danced around the ring. He didn't want to stand toe-to-toe with him really because he's a lot stronger. So I'll just literally keep out of his way, and as he comes in, just stick my jab out and hopefully land some points. And just try and keep out of his way as much as possible. And if he does get me in the corner on the ropes, I'll try and either grapple him, just hold on, clinch, and then push him out. If I couldn't do that, then I'd just probably maybe try Muhammad Ali rope-a-dope. Just see if I can take a beating on the ropes for a bit until he gets knackered. And then if I noticed he's getting a bit tired, then hopefully I'll come out and pounce on him and then give him my best shot and maybe stand toe-to-toe with him then when he's at his weakest. But
okay, so you said two different spectrums of defence there. You said one, I would stay off him, keeping him away with the long shots. Yeah. Okay, or two, I could actually rope-a-dope and not move at all. Okay, why have you decided on two different tactics there?
Well, first one, obviously, if that goes to plan, and I'll try and keep away as much as possible, but I mean, he's going to keep walking me down, hunt me down, so I'll probably eventually I'm going to end up in the corner, so if I can't turn him, I'm going to have to just sit there and maybe take a rest whilst he's putting all of his shots in and just cover up as well as possible. Okay,
so that sounds to me like a bit of a plan B,
yeah.
Like a contingency plan.
Definitely.
Okay, why do you think it's important for a boxer to be able to have a plan B and be able to change his tactics?
Well, it doesn't always go to plan. Obviously, when you get in the ring, things change, and you might have to change your tactics. And you go in there, you might have different tactics from what you have, so you might have to change around a bit.
Okay, and why do you think that's really important in amateur boxing?
Well, it's more of a point scoring system, so obviously they're looking for the points, so it's more technical, I think. So.
And when you box somebody in the amateurs, do you tend to know much about your opponent?
Definitely. Well, not at the moment. I've only had 4 fights, so I don't really know anything about.
So the person you're about to box, do people in general often know much about their opponent in the amateurs?
Not really, no.
Okay.
So footage about.
So if you're not knowing too much about their strengths, what do you think you should focus on?
My strengths. So,
absolutely.
Which is flicking my jab out and stepping back, keeping out of the way and using my range.
Okay.
And yeah, and then when obviously on the day, if I see the fighter, then obviously if he's a small fighter, he's going to want to try and get in close, so I'll know to watch out for that. So.
Okay, and have you had any experience doing a bout where you feel you've had to change your tactics?
Yeah, I've tried to, but it didn't quite go to plan, and I ended up getting a bit frustrated, and I ended up losing on points. So something to learn from.
Okay, what actually happened?
Well, I went in and he was quite powerful. He liked to come in close, throw lots of hooks. My coach wasn't actually there that day, and obviously when I watched the fight again, what I've been told to do, I didn't actually do. And I got frustrated and I went in to try and take him out and just ended up getting tangled up, and he kept just getting little shots on me.
Okay, so what have you taken from that fight so that you can apply in future fights for your tactics?
Keep calm, don't get messy. If something's not going to plan, then just keep my head screwed on, try and keep it tidy and not get frustrated. If you get frustrated, then you make mistakes. So.
Okay. Okay, thanks very much, Lewis.
No
Brilliant.
problem.
Cheers. So I believe you are doing a presentation on Kelly Pavlik, the Ghost. Okay, so if you want to just obviously present that to the group, that'd be great.
Get inside, basically, because he's quite long and lean. You need to get in and land hooks to the body, bring his high guard down, and then follow up with headshots, which is what Bernard Hopkins did to him. And use speed and clusters of shots, because he goes into a defensive shell, and he eventually does throw shots back, but he does stay there for a long time, like a couple of seconds, just all covered up. So if you get inside, land fast punches, and yeah, you can hold him as well. If he tries to fire back, just hold him. That's what B-Hop did, that's B-Hop there, doing his X sign.
Okay.
And you're either inside or outside with him, because if you're halfway, he'll catch you, so you've got to stay outside as well and use footwork, because I've noticed fighters that have got good footwork, he can't catch up to him. He's just quite slow on his feet, and it's like possibly for all the weights that he's been doing. And you can dishearten him, because he's been cut in the Sergio Martinez fight. He was cut, and he kept complaining that he couldn't see, and he found it hard to get back from being behind. So yeah, if you cut him up or if you dishearten him in any way, I mean, he's been knocked down before by Jermaine Taylor, but he came back and won and knocked Taylor out. So he has got heart, but he does feel a bit sorry for himself sometimes, because he was even in his corner saying to his coach something like he can't go on or something, and his coach actually said to him, stop saying that. So he's obviously could be a bit stronger mentally. Yeah, land the right hand over the jab, because that's what Jermaine Taylor did in the second round, which actually knocked him down. So, but you got to be fit, because obviously Pavlik got up and finished Taylor off. When you're inside, pushing back, because he actually keeps going backwards in a straight line. He never pivots off. Well, he does, but it takes him a while to actually do it. So if you're inside, just keep wailing away at his body, and if he goes back, just go forward and stick on him. And train hard, because obviously the fighters that have beaten Pavlik are the fit ones. In Taylor, his stamina ran out and Pavlik capitalised on it. Taylor later admitted after being knocked out that he could have trained harder, which isn't good. So obviously train, and he's hard. So I think that's it.
Is that John McClane?
Yeah.
Good.
So I took a leaf out of your book.
Okay, superb. So why did you actually choose Kelly Pavlik?
Well, when he beat Taylor, I was just really impressed. I thought it was brilliant, because Taylor was like really well known, Pavlik was more up and coming, and I like the fact that he actually had more than one mandatory fight for that fight. So I kind of respected him, because he said, he beat I think it was Miranda, and he knocked him out, and then I think it was Zatucci. He knocked him out in the 7th round, and then he said, oh yeah, that was my mandatory, and then they threw another mandatory at him, and it was like, I felt a bit of respect for him, because he kept going. It was like they're trying to stop him getting a world title. It just seemed that way. And then when he did get it, he grabbed it with both hands and he knocked Taylor out. And I'm not sure if he was the underdog, but to me he was, because I didn't know anything about him. It was Taylor who was being built up, and so it was just that fight basically that did it for me.
Okay, is there anything in particular that you like about him? Technically or tactically?
I like both. Sort of technically, he's quite tidy. He doesn't load up or pull his punches back. He just throws them, because he's quite heavy-handed. He just throws them, and he concentrates. He actually says he concentrates on the technique and not trying to knock the other guy up. So technically, he is quite good. He's not the best I've seen, obviously, but then yeah, I like his aggression. He's got like a just a presence in the ring to watch him. He's, you know, he's just constantly coming at the person, and he just wants to win. Like, wants to knock them out. So he's never slick or standing off or quite boring. He's just entertaining. So.
Okay, and how would you? What would you say is his best weapon that he has?
It's either the jab or the right hand. Probably his right hand, because he's knocked out. You go on YouTube and put him in, he's knocked out a lot of people with his right hand, and he just sends them straight down.
Okay, and let's say you're boxing Kenny Pavlik tonight. Well, let's say you're boxing Kenny Pavlik in 4 months' time or 3 months' time. How would you go about training for him?
I'd definitely train hard. I wouldn't leave that to chance. And I'd work on speed, because I think he's quite slow sometimes. He might not be, but he just looks it. When other fighters are faster than him, he finds it hard to catch up with his feet. And yeah, I'd use a lot of angles and flurries of punches on the inside. I wouldn't try and do what he does, which is come forward and try and land long punches. Well, I would, but I'd do both. I'd try and be inside as well.
Okay, so you said that you'd like to work on speed to boxing. How would you go about improving your speed?
I'd use some of those ladder drills, the foot drills, and because that's like agility as well. So I think that he finds it hard with agility. Sprints definitely. Just any speed work, basically, that you can do in boxing training.
Okay. Right, okay, that's great. Thanks very much, Luke, and I'm sure we'll see you against Pavlik soon. Yeah. Okay, Nabil. Right, so who have you chosen for your tactical discussion?
I've chosen Meldrick Taylor.
Okay, right, and why have you chosen him?
Because he's a flashy style fighter, fast, throws combinations, good footwork, and basically all out baller and exciting to watch, but also technically really good.
Okay, so you've highlighted those as things that appeal to you. Why do those particular skills appeal to you?
Because it's sort of like based on my style a bit. It's like a way I fight. So.
Okay, so you see a lot of yourself in Meldrick Taylor?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, well you mentioned a few strengths there, so you're going to go into a little bit more detail about the strengths that he has.
Basically, I personally think he's like probably one of the fastest fighters of all time, and he can probably throw 10 punches in like a second and a half or something. So.
Okay, and defensively?
Defensively, he's got good defence. He's mainly footwork defence though, and lateral movement.
Okay, and defensively, do you think that he lacks in or could work upon a bit more?
Probably when he's throwing shots, sometimes he can get caught, because sometimes he does try and throw too many shots because his hands are so fast. He does to get away with it most of the time, so the other guy's off balance before he's got a chance to throw a shot.
Okay, right. So match is made. Okay, so Nabil Yahui, excuse me, versus Meldrick Taylor. Okay, and that's happening tonight. Okay, what are your tactics? What are you going to employ?
I'd basically try and get in close, try and be a rough fighter. You can't box him because you probably will get out boxed, especially as I'm like probably smaller than him as well. So I have to try and get inside, try and rough him up, use a little bit of elbows and lots of body work.
Mm-hmm. And when you say using your elbows, how do you mean?
Not to drop one in the face, but basically just push him off, like just open up gaps and follow up the hooks to the body and up top as well. Okay.
And is there any fight in particular that he's had with an opponent before where he's been unsuccessful, that you'd say?
Yeah, it's his biggest fight. He was actually winning all the scorecards, and it come down to the last 2 seconds, and he got dropped. And against Julio Chavez, at the time, Chavez was like 69-0 with like 59 knockouts or something. And it come down to the last 2 seconds, and the referee said to him basically, "Can you carry on? Can you continue?" And because he didn't reply, the referee stopped the fight 2 seconds ago.
Okay, soul destroying. Okay, so the match is made, and let's say now the match is 3 months away. How are you going to train for him?
Basically, got to be super fit. I try and get like sparring partners to imitate him, like fast and move a lot, and basically work on my strength because basically I want to try and muscle him, especially the inside, to get him weak.
Okay, fantastic. And looking at it from the other side, let's say you're Meldrick Trainer's coach. Okay, what would you do to train him to improve him?
Probably just defence actually, just inside the fence, just tucking up the elbows a bit more, and basically making him sit on his punches a bit more. Even though he's a solid puncher, you could hit it a little harder, and I think he has got it to hit harder.
Okay. Right, okay, thanks very much, Bill. That's great.
Thank you.
Cheers. Okay, Archie. Tell us who you've chosen to study for your ES2 tactical even. I'm doing well, aren't I? Your ES2 tactical presentation.
I've chose Roy Jones Jr.
Okay, so you chose Roy Jones Jr. Why have you chosen him?
I don't know, I just like the way he moves in the ring and hand speed and...
Okay, and how do you feel he moves in the ring?
I think he's got real good footwork. He controls everything by the way he moves. Draws a lot of opponents in to his sort of fight.
Okay, so you say he's a kind of counter-punching boxer?
Yeah, I think he's just all round, he's really good. So
okay.
He can fight and box.
Right. Can you give us an example of somebody he's boxed or about that he's had where you were particularly impressed with him?
Where is it? Probably, I think the James Toney one was good.
Okay.
I like that one.
Okay, and what transpired in that fight, mate?
I just think like he was just too fast and you just like confusing him a lot, I think.
Okay. So before the James Toney fight, what sort of tactics do you think Roy Jones and his coach would have gone through?
Well, James Toney's obviously the bigger man, so just like use your speed, try and draw him in for counter shots, keep moving around him.
Okay.
Just try and tire him out and land, try and hurt him as well.
Okay. And what about Roy Jones's areas to improve, weaknesses?
I guess you could always you could tighten up because a lot of the way he fights, his defence is usually just slipping, rolling and using his feet. He's never really his hands are always quite low. Okay. So if you just bring them up a bit, just tighten them up.
So towards the end of his career, he started losing a few bouts, didn't he?
Yeah.
Roy Jones, he lost against the likes of Calzaghe, lost against Tarver, was it?
Yeah, he got.
I think he lost against Tarver.
As well.
Okay, so obviously his reaction times with his trunk were getting slower. So
yeah.
what tactics defensively do you think he could have used if his trunk speed was getting slower?
His footwork.
Okay.
Stepping out, maybe stepping in and out really.
Okay, great. What other type of defences?
His hand defences.
Okay, so it's been